What's up, YouTube? Team Movies here with the Laundromat hit limited release this week, and it's also going to Netflix in October as well. Since the film stars Gary Oldman and it also features Meryl Streep, Antonio Banderas, and loads of other cool people, I decided to go ahead and do my 10 favorite Gary Oldman movies because he's one hell of an actor. You know, he finally has an Oscar on his mantle for I don't know how long. He of course won it. It's been a while since Gary Oldman won an Oscar. I'm finally glad he actually got his Oscar because, well, definitely a well-deserving one. So I decided to do my 10 favorite Gary Oldman movies because Gary Oldman's the man. So anyway, coming in at number 10 is the film Prick Up Your Ears, which tells the story of the life and tragic death of British playwright Joe Orton, played by Gary Oldman, and it's where he ends up meeting this guy at a drama school named Kenneth Halliwell, played by Alfred Molina, and he ends up befriending with him. That also starts out as a affair, and he also ends up being more comfortable with his sexuality, and he also finds success in writing, and it really shows. I thought Gary Oldman, played that role really well. And it's directed by Stephen Frears. You also had Vanessa Redgrave, Wallace Shawn, Julie Waters, Lindsay Duncan. Some really cool supporting players in this. I mean, if you've never seen Prick Up Your Ears, it's a really tragic story. Alright, coming in at number 9 is going to Luc Besson's film, The Fifth Element. Now, in this, Gary Oldman plays the wicked villain, Zorg. He's trying to... And, the movie takes place in 23rd century, and you got Bruce Willis as this New York cabbie named Carbon Dallas, who ends up finding the fate of the world in his hands when this woman named Lilo, played by Mila Jovovich, ends up going into his cab, and so they're trying to pretty much stop the villain Zorg, played by Oldman, and try to save humanity. And Gary Oldman, his character was really great. Probably one of the coolest sci-fi villains there is. Gary Oldman, he actually the inspiration of his character was like a blend of Bugs Bunny and Adolf Hitler, which is a weird thing. But anyway. Yeah, Fifth Element is, it's definitely one of the coolest sci-fi movies of the 90s. Great, you even had Chris Tucker was in this. Fifth Element is great. If you guys never seen Fifth Element by now, give it a go. I mean, Gary Oldman really was awesome. Alright, now coming in at number 8 is the film that won him his Oscar. That is Darkest Hour, where he played British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, and Gary Oldman, he was really unrecognizable as Winston Churchill. He really embodied that role perfectly. He actually looked more like Winston Churchill than he did Gary Oldman. I mean, and he won his Oscar for playing that role. Great performance. And it was directed by Joe Wright. You also had Lily James. Kristen Scott Thomas was in this. Ben Mendelsohn. Some really great performers. And Darkest Hour, such a really amazing film. If you guys haven't seen Darkest Hour with Gary Oldman as Winston Churchill, give it a go. Definitely. I've seen other actors who play Churchill before, but I would say Gary Oldman is probably my favorite performer of Churchill. So definitely give Darkest Hour a shot. Alright, coming in at number 7. Now, he has a really cool habit of playing real-life people. He played Winston Churchill, and now before that, he ended up playing Lee Harvey Oswald in Oliver Stone's film, JFK. I mean, Gary Oldman as Lee Harvey Oswald was great. Was really great casting. I mean, I really thought Gary Oldman really shined as Lee Harvey Oswald. I mean, of course, the character should not be likable at all because he did shot JFK. But man, Gary Oldman was so terrifying as the role of Oswald. You also, of course, you had Kevin Costner was in this. Joe Pesci. Donald Sutherland. It had a really great cast list here, and JFK it's really great. I mean, of course, it's a conspiracy film about um that ended up surrounding the of of JFK, and yeah, it's a really good film. I mean, if you guys never seen JFK by now, give it a shot. You'll like it. All right, coming in at number six is going to the Dark Knight trilogy. Now, Gary Oldman, of course, plays Commissioner Gordon here, and I gotta say, out of every actor who played Gordon, Gary Oldman is probably my favorite Gordon there is. Now, of course, we know that. Now we know. Yesterday it was announced that Jeffrey Wright is set to play is like being looked at to play Jim Gordon, which I think that's going to be cool casting. And of course, other people play Gordon include McKenzie on Gotham. But I think Gary Oldman as Jim Gordon was great. I mean, I liked his like interaction with Bruce Wayne, played by Christian Bale. And he played, he of course played Gordon throughout three of the Christopher Nolan movies from Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and Dark Knight Rises. And he really shined as the role of Gordon. And really everyone shined in the Dark Knight. I mean, I don't think there was really a bad performance. I even think Anne Hathaway was a great Catwoman. Sue me, I know she was a good Catwoman. So, anyway. Alright, coming in at number 5 is going to Air Force One. Gary Oldman's best roles are when he plays a bad guy. And here, down the line, I'm probably going to do my 10 favorite action movie villains. And Gary Oldman's character of Ivan Karchov, I could never really pronounce his last name that well. But that's probably, of course, there's Hans Gruber, who's a great action villain. And Gary Oldman's character, Ivan, who, of course, is the terrorist who ends up hijacking Air Force One that Harrison Ford's president character is on. Gary Oldman was great as the role. I mean, he as a villain really shined, and his scenes with Harrison Ford was great. I mean, his Gary Oldman's dialogue in this was intense. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, you literally believe Gary Oldman as, this may sound messed up, but you literally believed him as a terrorist. Like, he really sounded very terroristic, and he was really great. I mean, he's Gary Oldman, obviously. And Air Force One is, of course, one of the best 90s action movies there is. I mean, Air Force One is just great. If you guys haven't seen Air Force One by now, you're missing out. It's a great action film. Alright. Coming in at number 4 is going to another Gary Oldman, a film where Gary Oldman plays a bad guy. And that is actually my favorite Harry Potter movie, by the way. My number 4 pick is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Gary Oldman as Sirius Black. There's been some great Harry Potter villains, whether it's a Voldemort, but Gary Oldman as Sirius Black is probably it's maybe my second favorite Harry Potter villain. I mean, he's actually he of course is Harry's infamous godfather who ends up escaping from Wizarding prison after serving 12 years for falsely being accused of pretty much the death of murder and all. So yeah, I mean, Gary Oldman I know he was a great Sirius Black. He really, you really couldn't even tell that was Gary Oldman, and he was great. Like I said, this is actually my favorite Harry Potter film. I mean, I of course did my Harry Potter rankings not so long ago, and Prisoner of Azkaban was number 1. It's a great one, and it's also directed by Alfonso Cuarón, who of course gave us stuff like Gravity and oh yeah, he just did Roma. I mean, I don't like Roma, but Prisoner of Azkaban is definitely a great one, and it's of course the third installment of the Harry Potter franchise. And Gary Oldman, he really nailed it as Sirius Black. So, all right, coming in at number 3 is another biopic that Gary Oldman starred in, and that is Sid and Nancy. Now, Sid and Nancy stars stars Gary Oldman as Sex Pistols lead bassist Sid Vicious, and it also shows his relationship with his troubled girlfriend named Nancy Spungen, played by Chloe Webb. Who, of course, you guys don't know who Chloe Webb is. She played the mother of Monica on Shameless. So yeah, I mean, Chloe Webb as the role of Nancy was great. I mean, this of course showed about Sid's trouble, like Sid and Nancy's trouble with drug use and alcoholism. I mean, Sid and Nancy, it was actually Gary Oldman's breakthrough performance, and I thought Oldman as the role of Sid Vicious, that was really great casting, and you also had Andrew Schofield as his bandmate Johnny Ryan. You had David Heyman as his manager, and yeah, it really went in on depth of Sid and Nancy. I mean, it talked about their drug use and stuff like that. And it also features some cool Sex Pistols songs. I mean, who doesn't love a good Sex Pistol? And Sid and Nancy. I mean, Gary Oldman looked very different as the role of Sid Vicious, and he was great as a role. I mean, I think Gary Oldman scored an. I gotta double check this, but I think he scored an Oscar nomination. If not, he should have because he's that great in this movie. All right, coming in at number two is going to Leon the Professional. Now, Leon the Professional, also directed by Luc Besson, is really great. I mean, here Gary Oldman plays the shamelessly drug addicted murder DEA agent Norman Stansfield, who ends up murdering Natalie Portman's character's parents, and you of course got Gene Reno as the hitman who pretty much helps pretty much helps Natalie Portman's character Mathilda to take down this guy, and you also got Danny Aiello who plays the mobster here. I mean, Leon the Professional, it was Natalie Portman's acting debut, and Natalie Portman was great in this. She was pretty young at the time too. I think she was like only 12 or 13 when she did this movie, and she really shined. Like for someone who's started at a very young age, she really nailed it here. And Gary Oldman, as the villain, obviously was, really great. I know Gary Oldman was great as his character. And it's another movie that Luc Besson directed Gary Oldman in. I mean, Luc Besson, him and Gary Oldman works together pretty well. And Leon the Professional is definitely one of them. I mean, if you guys never seen Professional by now, it's actually my favorite Luc Besson film. It's a really great one. All right. Now, what is his best work? My number one favorite Gary Oldman movie of all time is of course one of the films that Gary Oldman actually scored an Oscar nomination for, and that is Francis Ford Coppola's 1991 film Dracula. And you had Gary Oldman as the as the original vampire Dracula. I mean, there's been so many great actors who play the role of Dracula, whether it's Bela Lugosi, but I think Gary Oldman shined as the role of Dracula. And this movie was directed by Francis Ford Coppola. I mean, crazy him going from Godfather and Untouchables to Sink a Seat into a horror film like this. And Francis Ford Coppola, I know he killed it directing this film. And Gary Oldman, I think it's his best performance. I mean, I think this movie should have won him his first Oscar because he was that great in this. And you even had Keanu Reeves, Winona Ryder, Anthony Hopkins. You had Carrie Ellis. Richie Grant was in this. Monica Bellucci, Billy Campbell. Yeah, he had some really great cast members in Bram Stoker's Dracula. And I think this is one of my favorite Dracula-based movies there is. And yeah, if you guys haven't seen Bram Stoker's Dracula yet, give it a go. I mean, Gary Oldman pretty much dressed up like this undead, like his character was sort of similar to like an undead rock star, and Gary Oldman crushed it. I mean, definitely a really great Oldman performance. But that's pretty much it. Let me do the quick rundown. 10. Prick Up Your Ears. 9. The Fifth Element. 8. The Darkest Hour. 7. JFK. 6. The Dark Knight Trilogy. 5. Air Force One. 4. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. 3. Sid and Nancy. 2. Leon the Professional. 1. Bram Stoker's Dracula. Now, there's loads of other ones I probably could have added. Let's see. There was Hannibal, which also had Anthony Hopkins in it. He was great in True Romance. He was also in that horrible movie Hunter Killer with Gerard Butler. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, which lots of people love. I was one of the few who did not like that movie. Book of Eli. I did not like that movie, but he was decent in it. Hitman's Bodyguard. He was also in that not so good movie, The Space Between Us. He was in Kung Fu Panda 2. He was in that not so good Keanu Reeves movie, Tiptoes. He was great in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. He was in Lawless. He was in that not so good Kevin Costner movie, Criminal. He was in RoboCop. He was just in a movie called Killers Anonymous, which looked horrible. He was in that horrible Tom Hardy movie, Child 44. I mean, Gary Oldman's a great actor, but not everything he was in turned gold. But let me leave it to you guys. What are some of your favorite Gary Oldman movies? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here is C Movie signing off.